Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we're going to be answering the question, what creative talents will get you furthest? Suggested by Khalil Sunshine. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Actually, Khalil Sunshine just said creative talents, and I added upon that. Khalil, I hope you do not mind. We can consider this a team effort. It was a great suggestion. But with creative talents, you can pretty much do anything with that concept, which I love. And I definitely, if you guys are interested, would be happy to do more videos on creative talents. But I was thinking about how, particular ones, especially ones we might not give enough attention or love to or favor, might be the very key to our long-term success. So who doesn't want that? Again, I'm always taking suggestions for videos. I'm happy to. I read them in all the comments in all my videos. So if you want to leave it in this video, go ahead. As you can see, we have 4 groups in front of us. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you've picked your group, you can go down to the description where you can skip to your designated group and mark timestamp. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out what creative talents will get you furthest by looking at the cards. We've got 2 of Swords in reverse, Page of Wands in reverse, the Emperor in reverse, the Fool in reverse, Queen of Wands upright, and 3 of Pentacles upright. Oh, okay, so I can actually get pretty specific in this, even when it comes to potential job placements. If you're wondering that, I can actually talk about that. We are going to be focusing more on the general creative talents that you have that naturally, you just thrive in and that comes out of you. But I can get very specific. There are a couple of other occupations I'm seeing pop up that are more like slight hints, but I'll put them out there too in case it sparks something inside you. But anyways, let's get into specifics. First thing I see over here is the way you go about making decisions. This is so important and a really interesting way you go about fostering this. Over here with the 2 of Wands, we can see that yes, you have great intuition. You are connected internally and subconsciously to that part of you that acts as both the audience and the person making the decision for the audience. Does that make sense? So when you feel like you see something, you're like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one you want to go with, true. But it's also based on your decisiveness to pick that decision and kind of already in your head, no, I don't want to see anything else. This is the one. That is your strength. It's the heart and the mind working in tandem together so well. But the way you're going to kind of become more confident in this and not allow other people's doubt to seep your way, because that first instinct is something you want to go with, you're just right, is really interesting. Because often when people work, I forgot to mention this, for this particular spread, I'm seeing mostly an artist pop up. And we're talking about there's many different forms of art, but we're talking about somebody who would paint or do digital art or graphic design, that kind of pen to paper, you could say, type of creativity. But anyways, many other people, when they work in this type of field work, they are suggested to have some sort of little sketchbook or notebook or something, and they're going to write down all their ideas, and this is to help them become better connected to their creative side. This is actually not an issue for you. This is not something you need to practice. It is deep inside you, and it's all about giving love and attention to that part of you that is able to connect to it so quickly and easily. So the Page of Wands in reverse talks about you understanding that you need to find that momentum for continued success and that momentum for believing in that part of yourself inwardly. You're not going to be looking for other people's, you don't at all build the need to hear other people say, wow, that was a great decision. You can enjoy that compliment, but this is something you need to build in with yourself, because when those people turn on you or don't understand your ideas initially, they don't know what they're talking about. You know what you're talking about. So you want to more foster this by writing down every time you have a success based on an idea that you had instinctually. You want to build this up by saying positive affirmations in words. But either way, you need to understand that your decisiveness when it comes to creative choices is correct. It's the right one. You just kind of have that natural instinct, and to foster that and make that like something that's like an unmovable confidence based on your own personal support for yourself. The other thing I'm seeing pop up in here is something to do with copycatting. You're incredibly good at seeing the core idea of what else somebody else did, and then understanding how you can perpetuate that in your own idea. So definitely get into looking at reference photos, other people that you are inspired by, and understand that you'll either look at a photo of something or what somebody else did and go, oh, I understand this idea that they're conveying. Your natural instincts will click in and go, that's the one I want to choose. And you'll be able to, with ease, perpetuate that idea in your own way. Or maybe you like, because we're talking about creativity via like physically like drawing or something like that, you could look at somebody else's line work or the particular style and easily perpetuate this. This is actually super helpful for people who are in graphic design, who need to mimic. So let's say the client wants something to look more intense or stoic. You want to look up typography that looks intense and stoic and then mimic that. You're very good at that. Go with that. That's going to become incredibly helpful, and it's not something you should beat yourself up for if you don't have that natural idea within you. It's not a negative thing for you to look at resources and then make them your own. Go with it. Allow yourself that shortcut, so to speak. I am seeing, it's interesting. I want to point out that a predominant thing I'm seeing pop up over and over again is your natural ability to be a leader. This is something that you should strive for, even in a smaller context. So even if you're not the quote unquote manager or the person leading the project, you should make sure that you go out of your way to be the person kind of organizing everything for everybody else. But I do want to point out that this is not the type of leader that is organizing everything. I know I just used that as an example. You are not going to miss out on the creative aspects. You need to be somebody who's like, it's my idea. Everybody's going to be adding to the idea. I'm going to be saying what colors we're using. Here, let's go do this. Let's go work here. You kind of need to be the forefront. It's going to work best for everybody else, and it's the best way you think. But the thing that's really interesting here is I'm not seeing any context clues that talk about you working without a group. You do need a group. In fact, actually, I can see over here in the Three of Pentacles, you do really well with a group. You're really great at being able to bounce ideas off of other people and build upon it. Like, yes, your first instincts are right, but if you find if you're in a position due to the copycatting where it's like you have the idea, you started it, it's a good one, you understand what you can perpetuate, but it's a little too much like somebody else's, you know what I mean? You want to expand off of that. Other people are going to really help with, picking the palette of the color choice or whatever. They're going to help add to it a lot, and this is going to benefit you when you feel like you can only get to a certain point with your creative idea. Like, you don't need to stand alone. That's like the main thing I want to understand, because you have a lot of traits that imply you should stand alone. But even though you work well with these people, you're going to do best, and the group is going to have overall success based on you saying, listen, I'm in charge, which is really interesting. It's quite a domineering energy that you might not know is inside you, but everyone's going to do well with. Remember, just because you're a leader doesn't mean you have to be a tyrant. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily the energy I'm picking up, but often when people think of, okay, because the main energy I'm getting is somebody going, okay, we're all going to listen to me. I want to hear what you have to say. We'll all work together, but we're all going to listen to me. That seems like kind of almost a borderline mean and aggressive, or I think of like a cartoon villain in my head, but that's not the vibe I'm picking up from you at all. I just want to be absolutely clear about that. I also want to point out that I'm picking up something to do with technology. So this is again another thing that makes me feel like you're working in some sort of field with graphic design or whatever. I do want to keep reiterating one last time that even though this is an artistic thing where you would primarily be the leader in making decisions, you would not be giving up your creative like your involvement, because many times when people are the leaders, they have to sacrifice their own creative fun and take care of boring organizational stuff, make sure everybody is, getting the attention they need, things are being spaced and timed correctly, doing all the kind of annoying grunt work in that kind of way for the overall good so all the creative minds can work. That's not you. I just want to be absolutely clear about it. You're not going to be in that position at all. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Oh, I do want to mention there's two other smaller creative things I do see pop up. Interestingly enough, is a tailor. And I guess you can be the head of all the other costume designers, you know what I mean? Even though I'm picking up more of a like painter, illustrator, that type of vibe. And also I'm picking up a chef, which is really interesting. Chefs are creative, and there for sure is always the head chef. And this head chef is somebody who would be involved in the making of the food. They wouldn't lose sight or not be involved in the creative talents. So I just wanted to point that out more. So again, make sure you foster and give love to your natural gut instinct. Understand that your gut instinct is based more on the mind in tandem with your emotions. It's not just purely intuition. You're going to want to learn to more depend on yourself in order to prevent anybody from messing with that or making you doubt yourself. Because if you're only depending on what other people, kind of creatively support you in, you could slowly start to lose that natural gut instinct. You're incredibly good at copycatting other people, and you should definitely look up resources in order to foster those type of creative ideas. You are totally meant to be a leader. Yes, you're going to work with people, but you're going to be the main person making sure everything gets done, and they're going to more add to your idea, if that makes sense. And I for sure see technology being an important part of how you get everything done. So I want to point out something interesting with the technology thing. The technology thing seems to be kind of popping up not because you're naturally so good at technology. It's more that the technology can work as fast as you come up with or are able to choose an idea or direction. And technology is going to help foster that, so you can then move on to the next idea, And the interesting thing is, it's not that I'm picking up the type of personality that is like ADD and can't focus. It's more that you have that many ideas. That's why you can progress so quickly, and you're going to have such fast success, because you'll be able to be like, and now another idea gets executed, and then another, and then another. You know what I mean? So remember, technology, again, when we talk about different things, technology can help with somebody who sews, because you can figure out how to make creative patterns on a computer and then put that into your machine. If you're a chef, there's tons of technology that's helped speeding up or make the process of cooking food more seamless and mechanical, to make more of it faster and more precise. You know what I mean? So technology is popping up in every which way in this day and age. So not hard to find in any field you're interested in. So yeah. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2, let's find out what creative talents will get you furthest by looking at the cards. We have the Hierophant upright, 3 of Swords in reverse, Queen of Wands in reverse, and the Chariot in reverse, the High Priestess upright, and 8 of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, so this is so interesting. We've kind of got a hybrid of sorts going on for you specifically. It's like on one hand, we have this hyper-traditionalist side, definitely a route many people are comfortable taking, and a method in which you approach taking on new information and stuff like that. But then the hybrid part is almost like esoteric, and there's a lot of intuition and even magical stuff based popping up. But remember, this is esoteric, and intuition is like a pretty wide subject. So if you don't particularly want to go out, casting spells, do not worry. We don't have to specifically focus on that concept. But you'll see what I mean in a minute. This is super interesting that we have two extreme parts of the brain working so well together. Love this. This is really cool. I would be friends with you right away. Anyways, so first off, I want to talk about how... Sorry, Spirit's coming in like really strong. Okay, so I'm being told that you're going to be somebody who is a wealth of knowledge. We're talking, reading books a lot, taking any class. This is going to be an ongoing pursuit of knowledge your entire life. It's because you want to redefine... Wow, it's coming in really strong. You're going to want to right now start redefining your version of success, because this is not going to be something where you get a higher promotion. In fact, you're never going to really have a boss moving forward as you move into this type of career. If you do, it will be temporary, and they're not going to even feel like a boss, because you understand that in the long term of your career, you're always going to be kind of placed in new departments, used for new positions. It's like you're going to pop up where you're needed, so to speak. But the heaviest thing I'm seeing pop up is due to your wealth of intellect and experience and information you've collected. You're going to be somebody who's used theoretically as a consultant of sorts based on this knowledge. And that's why you need to redefine your success, because you're not going to be at one place and then, move up the ladder. It's gonna be a lot of like almost freelance type of work, and you're going to get to enjoy throughout life that like your main focus is the love and joy of learning new things, and then basically the universe gives you opportunities to then talk about it. So go have fun and just learn, essentially, which is really interesting. But you're going to be learning in somewhat of a traditional way. So don't be surprised if you feel the urge and you want to fulfill that urge to get multiple degrees. If that's too expensive for you, keep in mind, honestly, in this day and age, just go read a lot of books, but don't be afraid to take different classes, hear what other people have to say, but don't also ever think that you know everything. Learn more hobbies, learn more skills, but just do it in the kind of old school kind of way. It's going to be the fastest and easiest way for you to collect knowledge, and it's going to be the way that people, Spirit's telling me it's going to be the way people take you the most seriously, to have a lot of like resources, to be able to say, well, this is why you should listen to me, because I read X, Y, and Z, and these other people also said this. So I'm not just talking and making this stuff up. I have that much more concrete proof, which is so unfortunate. This is just me speaking up. I'm just putting this in. Why aren't we allowed to have new ideas? Why can't we say, I have created this philosophy, so this is a new philosophy that exists? So unfortunate. If you hear someone talking about some cool stuff and it's original, let's give them some love and support, because I personally would love to have some new, Carl Jungs and stuff like this in this personal, generation. I'm sure they're out there and I'm unaware of it myself, but yeah. Anyways, another thing that I see popping up is talking about aesthetics. It does not talk about you having the type of job that is aesthetic. Like, this is not like you're not going to go out and be a painter. This is not the type of thing we're talking about. It's just that the way you go about expressing this information is aesthetic looking. It's kind of interesting because I'm being shown that aesthetic can be done in kind of more of a unconventional sense, like the way you put words together can be aesthetic. Does that make sense? Because I know aesthetic is mostly based on visual sight, but I'm being told that it can, for you, creatively, the way you express an idea does not have to be physically seen. And the thing that's really interesting here, though, is that it's not the type of aesthetic that's going to initially wow people. Like, again, I'm just using it as an example, but we're talking more of the way you use words. So you wouldn't be someone with a bunch of bright colors and it pops out you and it's like shoved in your face. You're not using a bunch of big vocabulary words and screaming at people with a sort of almost pyramid scheme kind of presentation of like, listen to me, I sound important. It's going to come across as a lot more neutral, even borderline boring, but people are going to really be amazed at the way that you fit things together. Like, that's where the creativity comes in, that's where the aesthetic comes in, and it's going to be something that people will stick around in order to better understand and be amazed by what you've done. But don't be surprised as you're expressing information, they don't initially get terribly excited by what you're saying, and then as you're going along 5 minutes from when you started, they're going to be like, whoa, how'd you come up with that? How'd you put that together? My brain was easily able to be enticed and understand these ideas you're expressing based on how, and I'm just using this term loosely. If someone has a better terminology, please throw it in the comments, but we'll just say is aesthetic. It's pleasing to the ear and the mind, so to speak. Which I think is really interesting. Again, over here with the Chariot in reverse, it just shows us you're definitely going to be someone who cannot be possibly tied down. So if you ever run into a position where you don't like your boss or you don't like the direction a project is going in, please do not get triggered by that or let that be something of focus that even bogs you down for a second. When you look at the long term, I want you to consistently in these situations for you look at your life in a bird's eye view as if you've already lived it. And these are going to be but mere moments in your life. The example I always like to think of personally for me is like, when you're going through a rough time and you feel really lost in life and you're like, oh my goodness, this is going on forever, for a couple years even. When you look back at people's Wikipedia pages and people talk about maybe they went and pursued a different career for a little while before they, gave into their inventor career or whatever, it sometimes will like say 5 years or something, or sometimes even 7 years. I mean, Vincent van Gogh is like a perfect example. I think he didn't even get into art until he was like 27 or something, or maybe it was very late in his life. I think he was like a priest first or something. But anyways, the point is, when you look at that Wikipedia page, you just kind of in your head, you're like, oh yeah, 5 years, whatever, because you understand they lived so long and they experienced so many things. It's very much that mindset you're going to take on, because your overall goal and in the long term of your life, you're your own boss always. People are just fortunate enough to use you as a resource or see your insight, and then you bounce to the next situation. I'm seeing a lot of interviews. That's a huge thing I'm seeing, and people calling you in wanting to like have you kind of be the person finalizing the concept or idea or adding to it. But when you run into a position where you don't like somebody, understand that they have no demeanor over you. They are for sure not going to be dictating or choosing at all your long-term success. They're just somebody who thinks they're in charge for a hot moment, but that's not going to be a position. The main thing I want you to understand is that you have a talent in continuously finding freelance work and having no direction. So the more you're confused in life and you're not really sure where you're going to be in 6 months, go with it. That's a great feeling. That's only going to bring in more opportunities. The less you know what's going to happen next, the more success comes your way. So again, please keep in mind redefining your version of success, because it's like you're studying in a traditional way, but the way you can measure it and express it to other people and even yourself is not going to be measured in a traditional way. And so over here with the High Priestess, this is where the esoteric stuff starts coming in, which I think is really interesting. So it looks like you're going to it's so interesting. I'm usually not given this kind of specific information. You should definitely consider getting into, I'm being told specifically a pendulum, but keep in mind there's like hundreds of different divination tools. Tarot is just one of them. Pendulums are just one of them. But I'm specifically being told for you, pendulums are going to be your strong suit. When you go about picking, making decisions, making ideas, you are going to want to consult a pendulum. You're going to get into some kind of cool, magical stuff when it comes to making decisions. Again, if this isn't for you and you want to approach it as more of like an intuition-based thing, these are going to be things where maybe you do a lot of the traditional work and you pick up a lot of information, but then when it comes to the overall like last final decision and you want to sit there and take a bath and really think about it and connect to your your heart and your body, and think about what does my core say I should do? Connect to that. That's going to be the thing that helps you kind of beautifully glide from one position to the next with success. So that's what I think is so interesting here, is you're also going to run into positions where as you're studying and taking on new stuff. Now remember, anyone can write a book. I'm sure you're going to come across many books that are incorrect or are important for another particular reason. It's like, it's not the information they're saying, it's the lies they're telling. And when you connect to this intuition, and if you would like to, more esoteric and pendulum based, questioning, asking, working with your spirit guides type stuff, this is going to be the stuff that kind of helps you navigate to the next thing to do, which I think is really interesting. Definitely consider getting into sigils and crystals, because there are specific crystals for studying and crystals for focusing and acquiring knowledge and crystals connecting to your intuition. But the reason why I specifically say sigils, if you're interested in, anyone can make a sigil, and sometimes people use sigils as a form of helping enhance focus, like maybe you have a sigil that says, I always come to the right conclusion, and I always know what to do next. And this, whenever you look at the sigil, it's supposed to activate that part of you. And by carrying around with you all the time and writing it on all your notebooks and stuff like that, it will kind of build up magically over time and be that that intuitive, magical part that will help you through any sort of mental roadblocks along the way, which is really interesting and cool. And finally, I'm trying to see if there's anything else with the Eight of Pentacles. It kind of just talks about the idea of the everyday grind will definitely be a part of who you are, and something that you will naturally thrive in and find comfort in. Because your schedule is going to be kind of up in the air every couple months and years, it will definitely make you feel good to be like, okay, every day I wake up, I get my coffee, I read from this book, I take notes for 2 hours. And so no matter the different country, and I am being told you will live in different countries, the different countries you live in and stuff like that, this will be the thing that gives you some sense of balance, and you kind of need some sort of you could say schedule direction in that kind of way in order to successfully and emotionally handle the more fluent lifestyle you're going to be living in the long term. So again, pretty cool, pretty interesting. I love that the version of aesthetic and the way you fit things together is quite unique. Again, get started right now reading different books on different subjects, collecting knowledge, become known for somebody who has a lot of knowledge. Get ready to be somebody who's going to kind of understand but seamlessly blend into whatever new position. Sometimes you're going to be a teacher, sometimes you're going to be a consultant. It's going to change from situation to situation, and do not be afraid to get a little more friendly with those kind of magical components that can help you in between. Think of like the magical components as the ocean, and think of all of the kind of hard facts information you're going to be taking on as your surfboard. You need both in order to have the experience of surfing. So yeah, that's perfectly put. Anyways, if you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving the video a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3, let's find out what creative talents will get you furthest by looking at the cards. We have Wheel of Fortune upright, King of Cups upright, Six of Wands in reverse, the Star card in reverse. Ooh, King of Cups upright. Oh, the Star upright. Hold on. Something is happening here. Wow. Well, your destiny is just written in the stars, isn't it? Spirit's telling me you're going to try to get away from this destiny, but it's going to happen whether you like it or not. The only reason why I see you, and I say this, that the reason why you would want to move away from this destiny is a lot of this destiny has to deal with like dealing with other people's emotions. And you're very good at it, but often when people are skilled at working with other people's emotions, they're often empathic, and that means it's a struggle not taking on other people's emotions. Keep in mind, I'm just kind of throwing this out there right now, there's tons of different ways to practice not taking on other people's emotions, both mentally. You can do stuff with magic. There are you can just simply say return to sender, send that energy back to them, build up energy shields and stuff like that, so you can both still help people but not have it like totally consume you and take you on, you know what I mean? But this is an extremely repetitive and strong deck, all moving towards the King of Cups, which is really interesting. And I can get really detailed, but the type of personality this would be and the creative talents that would go around this type of vibe is somebody who has a lot of knowledge and a lot of talent, natural ability with working with complex emotional situations, and then is able to then help other people with that. A lot of Jupiter energy is coming in, so this is somebody who brings a lot of good luck to other people. This pops up when we're talking about teachers, like judges, lawyers, that type of thing. These are just some examples, but it's somebody who is basically able to help other people understand their destiny and be an extremely large influence, helping them understand that, affecting it, both with their own personal insight and based on their position of power in some sort of way. So let's get into like much more specifics, but just understand that you're somebody who I would say the strongest way I would define you that I'm picking up is what I like to call a secret leader. So even if you don't want to be a full-on leader, you are somebody in your little group of people, your little community. And when I say community, it doesn't have to be a whole-on town, but it's the people who know you always seem to gravitate towards you and your opinion and what you think they should do next and what should be made of, the next solution, even if there's someone higher above you. You will always naturally draw people towards you, already have their trust and respect, and kind of already feel comfortable telling people what to do. But I say secret leader because there's not a feeling of like you don't actually want to lead. This is why I say secret leader. These people tend to push away that responsibility and destiny because it's a lot to take on and they don't want that. But the thing is, you're just really naturally good at it. You're going to fall into it, and the sooner you accept it, the more you'll find like happiness because it's effortless for you. This is just you being yourself, and it's something you can do quite easily. So over here with the Wheel of Fortune, we talked about the Jupiter energy coming in very strong. That this is kind of karmic destiny a little bit. I will mention to you, this is kind of the life, I don't want to say life lesson, it's like your karmic contract. It's like what you signed up for in this lifetime and you want to experience. Both both this person and position, but also somebody who goes through a time period where they struggle to accept that they're going to have this position, because this is what in turn makes you a more humble and better leader, because it wasn't something you made out of ego or any drive to go anywhere. Like, it's interesting. This will give you the most amount of success, but you're not choosing it for success. Does this make sense? Then I want to talk about the King of Cups because it does repeat twice and it is incredibly important. So the King of Cups, we have confirmation over here that it's going to give you a lot of success. You're going to be somebody who is a great listener because you are able to understand pretty complex emotional situations and not get kind of swept up in it. And because you're able to play almost like a devil's advocate for both the person coming to you and the other person who needs help or needs direction in some sort of way, or for the individual person, you can kind of see the good and bad option of what could possibly happen and be able to make and be like, here you go. I'm helping you see the bird's eye view of what to do next. And you're able to make decisions in ways people can't when they're emotionally swept up in it. Who hasn't been there? You know what I mean? This person is also somebody who is really good at aesthetics. Aesthetics is really interesting here with the King of Cups. There's two different aesthetic types that pop through. One is somebody who's able to be aesthetic based on how they understand multiple things can be fit together. So it's not the singular t-shirt you wear, it's the whole outfit you put together. It's not the painting you paint, it's all the paintings you curate together, if that makes sense. And remember, when it comes to that sort of aesthetic can pop up in a bunch of different creative ways, the way we express words, the ideas we're trying to put out there. It doesn't always have to be a physical thing you can see aesthetically, if that makes sense. We have to think like fifth dimensional type of thinking here. You know what I mean? There's different ways to see this. But the other aesthetic that I want you to pay special close attention to is you will often put something out in the world that is subconsciously giving you the answer back. And it's like you might not always be able to understand what you need to do next. You might know it for other people, but not know what you need to do next for yourself. But in your heart, you always do, and you're easily able to put that in the world to kind of reflect back to yourself. And what I mean by this is I actually found this out way later in life that I prophetically paint. So I'll paint something, I don't know why, I just need to put the image out there, and then I look back and it ends up being the answer to what I want, or I accidentally predict the future and stuff like that. So consider doodling, keeping some sort of a vision board, but the type of vision board where it's like intuitive, like you don't know why you want that thing, but you're just going to put it there, and over time you're going to understand how to read that and realize as you can depend on that version of yourself and just letting go, it will be the way you get your own answers back. But it can be also very helpful, not only guiding you, but guiding other people. You could tell other people the same thing based on them coming to you and being unable to see the emotions you so easily can see what's going to happen next. You know what I mean? The Star card just keeps perpetuating this idea that you're somebody who's helping other people in their long-term journey and guidance. The other people of note would be like a guidance counselor. You could definitely be somebody in like a spiritual community where people go to you for some sort of help or assistance. Again, it's the type of leadership where you're not going to have ultimate power, but a lot of people respect you and come to you to know what to do next. So in a way, you are the leader. It's really an interesting dynamic that I love and come across not very often, which is super cool. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else you need to know. No, that's just really it. You're a great listener. You understand emotions and complex stuff easily. You're great with aesthetics, communicating through yourself and with other people through aesthetic, and your destiny is to help other people with their long-term journeys and bringing a lot of people good luck. Actually, this is a cool thing that I want to tell you about. So, where is it? I think it's here on your thumb. It's on your, I think it's on your right hand thumb, but it could be your dominant thumb, whatever is your dominant hand. Hold on, let me see if I can get the camera to focus. There should be an eye. See how there's an eye? If you have this eye on this part of your thumb, this shows that you bring other people luck. And unfortunately, not everybody who has this also then brings luck for themselves. But we have confirmation here that yes, you will essentially be doing that. Also, I do want to point out this repeats the idea of you helping people build up a certain sense of like positive affirmation within themselves. Like, you really lift people's confidence within themselves and optimism in the world just by coming in contact with you. So pretty darn cool. Anyways, if you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out what creative talents will get you furthest by looking at the cards. We have 10 of Cups in reverse, 7 of Swords in reverse, Queen of Cups in reverse. Oh, she's got a little French press. Does anyone else like French presses? 5 of Wands in reverse, 9 of Pentacles upright, and 4 of Pentacles upright. And I'm gonna just go, before I even look at these cards, this is like a slight tangent because like I love coffee. If you are like a big lover of cold brew like me, I highly recommend just spend the $15, get a French press, and when you leave coffee in a French press, it's just ground. You put it in with some like water, room temperature water. You can leave it out. You can put it in the fridge. It doesn't matter. If you leave it out for over at the minimum 14 hours, I like to do like 16. That's how you make cold brew. And then you press it through the French press and it will give you the best, smoothest flavor. It's super cheap. You can put some ice cubes in it. I just put it in the fridge. Oh, it's so good. Anyways, so from one coffee lover potentially to another. Let me know if you're a coffee lover in the comments below. But let me look at what's going on here. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I say this with the biggest amount of love and giggle, and I know you're going to be laughing too. You are what I would like to lovingly call an unintentional troublemaker or trouble starter. And I do say unintentional because you are not purposely trying to start any kind of drama, or that's nothing with that. In fact, actually, you are going to benefit more in the long term from working alone and being more solitary and kind of keeping a lot of stuff to yourself when it comes to career-oriented stuff. But you have a specific talent that will benefit other people, but in order for those people to benefit from that talent, it's a bit bumpy for them. So let's get into specifics of why that is. And it's so funny when I paint the image over here of what's going on and some other things we're going to be adding to. So you are incredibly good at picking up other people's emotions and understanding what's bothering them. Like, you can just read people like a book, whether it's good or bad. But here's the thing, though. Here's the key thing. You're really good at picking up the bad traits and understanding what it is not working out. I don't believe you feel this way about yourself, but if you've ever thought you were a pessimist, you are in fact not. You were just reading what's there. You might want to keep in check viewing the world like that and viewing people for only their negative traits, but you are not inherently a pessimist just because you can see what other people can't. Everybody has both quote-unquote good and bad traits. But if you want to think of it from a kind of metaphysical and philosophical level, there is no good and bad. It is all benefiting, and the shadow side of us brings the good stuff to light, and vice versa. You can't have one without the other. So this is not a bad thing to see or inherently be able to easily discover in others. So I just want to keep that in mind so you don't ever put yourself down for this. But it's a talent. It's a true talent, because it looks like one of the abilities you have is being able to help other people understand what they cannot see within themselves. This shows you bringing that information to light. You're incredibly good at how you share the information. I want to point this out. You're not someone that just goes, hey, by the way, other person, you're lazy. You're not like that. You have much more of a skillful way of, how do I put this? helping people come to the conclusion in a softer, nicer way. So this is super helpful because when we have a Queen of Cups in reverse type of situation, this is somebody who's emotionally imbalanced. And let's be real, when it comes to the workforce, no matter what job you're in, if somebody is emotionally imbalanced, it severely negatively hurts everybody else, especially if they're a leader or a manager of some sort. It's just such a pain to deal with and hurts not only the person that's suffering from that type of mindset, but it affects everybody else. And you're really good at going, hey, these are the things that are making you feel this way. Let me help you get emotionally balanced by being able to see the obstacles you're putting in your own way and how can we handle that kind of thing. It makes me feel very much like a therapist type of vibe. And for some of you, you might want to go into that type of field, like a counselor of some sort or anything. But I'm going to be honest with you, for a heavy amount of you, it does not matter the field you're in. It's through these pursuits, this ability to see stuff and help other people connect to that. You're kind of like almost, again, I say this so unintentionally, an unintentional shadow king. And if you know that term, it means somebody who's successfully ruling over everybody else on the sidelines and everybody else thinks somebody else is in charge. You know what I mean? Kind of like you're the hidden influencer. But this helps the place you're in work better. It helps the people that are hurting other people and taking, maybe credit for stuff they shouldn't take credit for to light. You really help keep the peace in a lot of ways and keep the balance going in a lot of ways. But of course, this probably unintentionally starts drama. I do want to point out, you're going to be really happy to know that this drama does not at all involve you in any sort of way, like it's not going to come back to you. Again, you're very skillful at this. But sometimes, and this is just one last thing I'll say before I continue on other information, sometimes when drama happens, it's a good thing in your particular case, because it's kind of like, there's a term, I can't think of the metaphor, it's when like a snake eats its own head kind of thing, and it's like you're allowing that to come to light in order for the overall good of everyone else, and that will self-implode, work itself out, and then get out of the way, and everyone will have better peace due to you making this happen. So really interesting, unique talent you have there. But this is such a funny image. I want you to keep this in mind. So think of the Five of Wands as sort of our aggressive, everyone's fighting. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. Everyone's fighting it out, not agreeing, disagreeing, whatever. And here you are, mind your business, be like, okay, well, I'm glad you know that information. Bye. And keeping to yourselves. I think that's really funny. But also, this extends upon the idea of you having a natural ability to know when you're not going to get any further with both the idea or the person you're trying to execute the idea with. So this is a great way to save yourself time waste. You will essentially, I'm a little distracted because I'm not sure if a bee is going to come into my air conditioner. So if you hear me pausing, I'm like trying to listen to see if I need to go run and scream. Anyways, you will basically have a natural sense to know when the walls are going to pop up, when that person is not going to budge, and you should seek help or whoever's going to help make your idea come to light, or who's the best person to work with. You're going to know when that wall comes up. Oh, you're someone who's not going to budge. Okay, you're wasting my time. I will find someone else who will help me with this. This is great because you don't know when you're moving forward in life, like when it's a good idea, when it's worth the effort. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, and then you waste years and years with people that you're like, man, this is never going to change. I don't know why I keep holding out hope. It's very much that sort of mentality, so to speak. The other thing you're really good at is not only working by yourself, you're definitely somebody who either full on has a career by themselves and all of this drama comes from consulting with other people, or you're somebody who, let's say you work in like an office type of job, you'd be the person that people go to kind of express some ideas, work some stuff out, and then they go all and work in their own cubicles and groups, and you're just kind of by yourself most of the time doing things. You thrive off of it, you think better, you're going to be, your talents are going to shine better. It's just going to be overall, it's just going to be a lot easier for you. But something I do want to point out is two things. One, you have a natural ability to connect to luxury. Like, it's not hard for you to imagine the things that you want and the things that bring you joy in this kind of way. And this is really important when it comes to manifesting. Write down everything that you possibly want to purchase and imagine that that's what you're receiving money for. This is going to be a natural way that you manifest really easily. So this is just like a little, tidbit for your manifesting that you can connect to. But also, because you don't have any guilt based on earning money and having more, you basically say to the universe, yes, more money, please. Yes, please. Yep, it comes to me easily. And so if you ever need to kind of like get into a certain mindset in order to attract more money, understand that your lack of guilt and your happiness around material objects, which is just another experience in life and something you shouldn't feel ever guilty for, is something that you should just go for. You just go for it. Have a great time. Connect to that. That's going to bring you even more money. But the other thing I wanted to point out, the last final thing, is stability. Stability is incredibly important to you through a variety of things. That's why you activate this going on. You want emotional stability. You want financial stability. And anytime you feel like you have your feet on the ground and you can trust where you're at, that is when you flow the best. And so anytime something's teetering off your grounding, teetering off your stability, whether that be drama going on in the workplace, maybe you feel like your ideas in your head aren't making sense, maybe you don't like what is being financially asked of you, you will naturally, due to that fear and that uncomfortability, know what to do next. So if you ever feel like, man, I wish I could go with the flow more. No, that is not what you're meant to do. And that's a good thing. That is what's keeping you making the best directions possible. Definitely do not be afraid when I see the 9 of Pentacles and the 4 of Pentacles to quote unquote be selfish. Selfish is an inherently negative term, but it is actually just talking about doing things for the self. And you have to understand this on like a bigger scale. I don't know if you believe this personally, but if you believe in the idea that we are all one, there's a lot of belief in a lot of different practices that if you take care of yourself and you better yourself, you're in turn bettering a piece of the greater whole, so to speak. And so by taking care of yourself, you are in turn benefiting other people if that's of concern of yours, if you're worried that's selfish of some sort. But being selfish or quote unquote doing things for yourself is also not a bad thing. Sometimes people want to use you and use the innate desire most of us have to help one another to their advantage. And remember, they have no problem that they're asking it of you. They're being selfish by saying it's all about me and accusing you of being selfish, that you're putting up some sort of boundary. That is not a bad thing. The more you take care of yourself and you're worried about your own personal stability, not only will you make the best decisions for the overall idea being executed in the workforce, you'll make the best decisions so that everybody else has a better environment. If you're happy, everybody else is happy. So you're really good at knowing when it's not a financially smart idea. Like, you'll know when you'd feel like at the workforce, the team doesn't have the right resources financially for that project. You'll know when something feels off emotionally. So listen to yourself. The happier and more grounded you feel in your current situation, the better it works out for everyone else. So this will be your clue and indicator what to do next. And you will definitely know what to do next. You're really good at sniffing out anybody who's rocking the boat. So you're pretty cool. You're not going to get in trouble for any of this. This is not inherently a negative thing. You're not a drama queen or king. You're just somebody who's good at finding balance and helping people find balance within themselves by understanding what they need to fix. You can work better alone. A lot of people come to you because of this. You're great great at knowing what's time waster, financial waster. Just connect to what you want financially in the long term. Feel no guilt about it. Trust that being grounded and feeling both financially and emotionally supported and feeling concrete is basically your inner compass. So super cool. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I am wishing you sincerely the best. Bye.